Happy New Year! Alright, so let's jump into this. You know why we're here. I know why I'm here. You know why you're here. Curse of Oak Island, Season 13, Episode 9, I think. So close, yet sonar. Wow, do you think they do some sonar in this episode? Do you know how many times they've done sonar in the past? Every time they do sonar, you know what they do? They look at the screen and they go, could it be? Is it possible? There's no wall there. That could be man-made. There might be... And it never is. It never is. So let's see if something's different this time, shall we? Let's jump in. All right, so over in the swamp, Billy, Katya, and the new guy, I don't remember his name, but I did find out that he used to be a professional wrestler. At one point, he made a comment about being back on TV. And I did some research and found out he used to be a wrestler. He was actually a wrestler on television. Who would have known? So he has previous television experience. Shocker, right? No, not so much. So anyhow, what happened over in the swamp? Well, not a lot. You would be shocked. You would be amazed. You would be surprised to know that they found wood, and more wood. And what's even more surprising is the fact that Katya is working on her acting skills. In one clip, she was like, and she pulled up a piece of wood and was like, I found some wood. That's about all that happened over in the swamp. Wood. Let's move on. Oh, before we move on. So the last piece of wood that Katya put up, she said, this is the biggest stake I've ever seen on Oak Island. And then we're going to transition to Lot 8, where she saw the smallest stick she's ever seen as she goes and does some metal detecting with Rick. Good transition, right? So over on Lot 8, which, remind you, was Samuel Ball's property, Rick says, we have no record of anybody being on this property after the money pit was discovered. Samuel Ball bought the property in 1798, and it was one of his initial properties that he purchased on Oak Island before basically owning the majority of Oak Island. So there's a lot of documented records of activity on Lot 8 involving Samuel Ball and his cabbage farming. So what did Rick and Katya find? They found this piece of metal that Katya said looks like it could be a knife. Possible? It's possible. And then they found a bag seal that was used on cloth bags to hold goods. And Rick went, well, the ocean's way over there, and the ocean's way over there, and we're in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't belong here. Storms, floods, trade, Samuel Ball. There's a lot of reasons it could have been there. And again, Samuel Ball owned that piece of property and he was on it. So yeah, let's move on. Lot 5, the team's back. That's it. Moving on. Oh, let's jump into the folded coin. The folded coin. So in the beginning of the episode, the folded coin was being examined by Emma using true scientific methods. And Emma did some research and she said, this is not a coin. It is most likely between like the 1650s and the 1800s. It's copper, it's zinc, but it's not a coin. And everybody else went, but maybe it is. But maybe it is. And then they went down the string of stories of how they used to fold coins and, ward evil and to mark treasure and a billion other reasons why people folded coins. Now, I did some research on the coin and what I found out that it could possibly have been a trade token that was folded over. So there is some potential truth to that. But most likely everything I looked at the size of it, when you look at it in everybody's hands, this is a very large chunk of scrap copper. It most likely is just a piece of scrap copper because this is a big piece of metal. There are no edges. Everything I found out about folded coins during this time frame, even though if they had pounded it flat and it worn smooth, there would still be some kind of edge to it. There is no edge to this piece. So the most likely reason for this is scrap metal. And here's the thing, I like cards, and sometimes I get bored with my cards and I fold them. And we do weird things like that. And if I'm sitting on Anthony Vaughn's property and I'm Anthony Vaughn and I'm mad at my family and I got this piece of old copper and I'm just like, hey, who knows? Could have been a spacer. It's not a coin. Let's move on. I've been waiting for this part. Cheers. Happy New Year's Eve. I've been waiting for this part. As soon as the episode started last night, and they went, Peacock. I looked at my wife and I said, oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk about the Peacock. I feel like sometimes the team just sits around with their like bingo rollerball and they're like, what can we pull out this week? Peacock, how can we fit this into the episode? And supposedly in 2017, 2019, this was mentioned back then. So we've had the peacock, the golden egg, the blob, the baby blob. There's so many things I can't even begin to understand. But we're returning to the peacock. And if you look at the peacock, it looks like the smallest steak on the island. I'm sorry. I had to. Anyhow, I digress. So the peacock. So supposedly the peacock, after they drill down into it, they went through mud and the wood stuff and the hard stuff and the water and the more water. And they said, you know what this looks like? This looks like a solution channel on top of a solution channel. Now we just found out about the solution channel, but it looks like a solution channel on top of a solution channel. And Rick made the comment of the century. He was like, you know, this is very unique. It shows that there might be a shaft or a cave or a tunnel in close proximity. And I'm watching the episode and I'm like 7 feet away is the shaft that you hired a company to come in and dig out. And yeah, it flooded because you hit a water source. So there's pretty obviously a shaft nearby because we can see it for one thing. And we know what you did there a couple years ago. So the disturbing of the land within close proximity, it was well documented recently. So Rick, at least block out the shaft that we can see, but like move farther away if you're going to have this storyline. But anyhow, the peacock, whoever come up with the peacock, I'm trying to figure out if it's an actual thing or if it's just like a spoiler that Curse of Oak Island is going to move to Peacock, because Peacock has this thing where a lot of the shows that they have either has a peacock in it or mentions peacock. So is the peacock in the money pit an Easter egg that the Curse of Oak Island is going to Peacock? I mean, it's as realistic as the treasure, right? Right. Okay. So what else happened over in the money pit? Well, as I said at the beginning of this video, sonar. So close, but sonar. That's deep. And it was actually pretty deep that they did the sonar. Now, here's the thing. When you look across the money pit area, the number of times that they've dug a hole, found a void full of water, and put the sonar in it and went, it looks like that could be man-made. It looks like that could be something right there. It's happened a lot. It's happened so many times that when it happens now, you just kind of go, okay, sure. Let's just fill the rest of the episode with sonar. So this is the lead up to, I'm sure, the big auger drill they're going to bring in and all that stuff. And we'll get into that later on in the season. Whatever. But does the sonar impress me? No, it doesn't. Because we've seen it before. And we've seen this storyline before. And now we're just starting to, repeat ourselves. We find wood in the swamp. We find water in the money pit. We find bag tokens over in the middle of the island. It just doesn't end, does it? No. And that's all I got for this week. There wasn't really a lot in this episode. Again, Katya saw the biggest steak and the smallest steak, a bag token, some random pieces of metal, a folded over piece of old copper that Emma plainly said is not a coin, and Sandy said it is a coin. But here, hey, at the end of this video, I had a chance to have a conversation per se with Sandy. I had a written conversation with Sandy, and Sandy basically said that all he could say was that they take liberties in editing. So anything you hear Sandy say in the episode, don't let it gauge your opinion of Sandy, because the editors will make what Sandy says fit into the narrative. Peace out. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2026.